What's up, fight nerds? It's your boy Gashawn. I want to welcome you to Enter the Nerd. Today we talk about UFC 264. This had a lot of stuff going on, always from the early prelims to the main card. It was an exciting card. I hope everyone's bets went through. Hopefully you won some money. Let's talk about what went down. Some things were actually pretty funny, to say the least. Some things were shocking as well. So let's get right into it. First, we have some fights on the early prelims and the prelims that I want to get to before I get to the main card. First fight will be between Jennifer Maia and Jessica Ai. Now, that was kind of a slow plotting battle. They wanted to keep it standing up. Wasn't the most technical bout, and you can see by the way this fight went why their fights with Valentina Shevchenko went that way, because she is literally like heads and tails above them. Honestly, like you can just look at that. Now, the highlight of this fight was when they had a headbutt, and Jessica Ai literally had a third eye right here. It was pretty crazy. It was gushing, literally all over Jennifer Maia's face as well. And I mean, I was worried it was going to get stopped, but it did not. And yeah, the fight went how it went. Jennifer Maia won. I mean, I wouldn't be proud of it. It was kind of a weird thing. I'm still kind of wondering how Jessica Ai is still in the division when you had people like a lot more accomplished fighters within the UFC get cut, and she's still there. Like, she's kind of on a really big losing streak. So I'm wondering if a cut is in her future. Probably is. And I really don't see any of them getting a rematch with Valentina anytime soon. Next would be Ryan Hall and Torpora. Now, a lot of people love Ryan Hall. They love his jiu-jitsu and a lot of his spinning back kicks. I'm a big fan of Torpora. I love his wrestling. He's very well-rounded. I love that about him. Now, in this fight, you saw a lot of like Imanari rolls and a lot of almost Imanari adjacent maneuvers when it came to how he wanted to engage in the grappling, right, from Ryan Hall. And then if Torpora would come in too quick, he would like get like a quick little spinning back kick to kind of like try to like lure him into that. But Torpora was really good. What he did was, like, if he would go down, you kind of like shoot while the roll was going down, try to like get the timing. And if he got caught a little bit in the grappling, he would get out of it, because Torpora is not really a submission dude, not like jiu-jitsu heavy. He's more of a let me get position on you and start the ground and pound, which he's very good at. And after about 10 to 12 of those rolls that Ryan Hall did, he actually snuck in, Torpora snuck in, got a nice little shot from the right, and then that's when the ground and pound went in, and that was the end of that actual match. I love that, because honestly, it was kind of a chess match. It wasn't like super technical, and honestly, it kind of shows the holes that Ryan Hall has, as much as people like him, because honestly, anyone else probably would have found different entries than that, but he kept doing the same thing over and over again. So eventually, Torpora was going to get that timing in. You know, you keep giving him the same thing, a good fighter is gonna catch on, right? But yeah, the guy I wanted to win won, so yeah, I was happy. Heading into the main card, let's start off with the one that opened it up, which was OMalley and Chris Moutinho. Now, everybody knew that OMalley was a favorite here. Chris was his debut fight, but I don't think anyone knew this was gonna happen with Sean O'Malley, with him just laying waste to this man's face for 3 rounds, while Moutinho just was a zombie until it was stopped with 30 seconds left. Now, at first, I was like, damn, like, with 30 seconds left, you couldn't let him go. But then, I since amended my stance with that, because if you look, he was getting touched up this entire fight, right? The entire fight that this was happening. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's so tough and stuff like that. But it's not really that he's tough. His brain just wasn't operating at fail-safe to keep him safe and just get knocked out so he stopped taking his damage. And eventually, before it got stopped, Sean started really laying into these strikes. And to be honest, this fight could take years off of this man's life, or at least his career, right? Honestly, this was kind of nuts, because he had nothing for Sean O'Malley. So he was just hoping that he would plod through and land something to take him out. And that's really, I hate to see something like that happen. Like, we saw him at the end of it. He was literally a zombie. Some people didn't like the fact that he stopped it, but and I was one of them at first, but then looking at it, Herb most likely saw what was happening. Cause imagine 30 more seconds of hits like Sean was giving him. It was nuts. So yeah, that fight was pretty crazy. Next fight, Irene Aldana, and I hope I'm saying that right, and Yana Kunitskaya. Yana Kunitskaya came out the gate super aggressive, mixing it up, leg kicks, clinches, which is the best way to go after Aldana, because for some reason Aldana, when it comes to like the mixed martial arts aspect, doesn't do very well. If you keep it moving, give her leg kicks, grapple with her, that's the thing that kind of confuses her. You saw that happened with Holly Holm, but if you sit there and plant yourself in front of her and give her a chance to get her boxing going, that usually spells the beginning of the end for a lot of people. And you saw that happen here because as soon as she hit Yana with a really good shot, Yana stopped moving and engaging the same way and started slowing down and planting in front of her, and it gave Aldana a chance to land some really good strikes, and then even that check hook, which eventually put Yana down, landing some ground and pound into the fight. So yeah, there goes that fight. Right now we have Tuivasa and Greg Hardy. Now we love a good kaiju battle or heavyweight fight, whatever you want to call it, and we knew this was, well, I knew it was going to be pretty much a banger. I was going for Tuivasa. Now Greg Hardy, obviously he's gotten better and better, but obviously he's got a couple of losses here. There are some things he's deficient at, but you know, I can steadily see the progress. However, that didn't help him here because he sat there eating a whole bunch of leg kicks right in the beginning, and he actually landed a little, he clipped Tuivasa a little bit and then charged in kind of uneducated and got wasted by, I believe it was a right hand, especially while he was leaning on the fence, and literally fell in slow motion like Mufasa in Lion King. It was pretty funny, actually. I hope we can put something up from that, or at least a picture, whatever. It was pretty nuts. And then Tuivasa goes and there's a whole bunch of shoeies, including one with hot sauce in it, which he didn't seem to like too much. But I look forward to seeing what he's gonna do. He's got a 3-fight win streak. He has a great personality. I hope he makes it very far in the heavyweight division. So we are on the co-main event. This is actually the fight I was looking forward to the most, which is Stephen Thompson versus Gilbert Burns. Now this was definitely a fight of styles, and I knew there was going to be more of a chess match. Now they had a lot of respect for each other's striking. Specifically, we know how Wonder Boy moves, and Gilbert took advantage of the fact that he definitely has the grappling advantage. Now I knew if Stephen could keep it standing, they were going to tell you a lot of stuff about it, but Gilbert actually got him down and held him there. Didn't get a chance to like actually go for anything like real submissions or whatever, but he kept him down and definitely rained some strikes that he needed to make him win the rounds. Now, in round 3 was very interesting because Stephen hit him with a spinning back kick and then a flurry, which made Gilbert go, yeah, no more of that, and definitely led to the takedown, which won him the fight. Now, he didn't finish him, but he did the right thing. He made the right business decision, which was, I'm not going to get wasted like this, because when Stephen Thompson got very aggressive, it was clear who had that stand-up advantage. And as explosive as Gilbert is standing up in terms of like the acumen isn't the same for that, and he played the right cards. So yeah, and as far as the welterweight division, I want to see Gilbert versus Leon Edwards next. And people were booing Gilbert. I hate when people do that, especially like when they don't see the fight they want or the winner. Like, these guys just put it on the line. Like, I hate that. But either way, Gilbert versus Leon is probably really good, or Gilbert versus Colby, something. Those fights are going to be very exciting. I'm going for Gilbert versus Leon because both of them need a very good win in order to go against Kamaru, since they both have a loss to him. Main event time. Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor. The fight that I never asked for, and a whole bunch of people probably wanted this, but no, I never really needed it. I wanted Dustin to just go right for Charles Oliveira and just see what's going on with that, but instead, they have this match, which obviously the implications I hated, because if Conor would have won this, then it'd be like, oh, he's going against a challenger, and obviously, how many fights has he won in the lightweight division? How many recently? We know what that number is, or what it's not. All right, so going into this fight, a lot of people were looking like, oh man, let's see if we get karate stance Conor back. Is it gonna make a difference? Is all this trash talk real? Because he was talking a lot of stuff about this dude's wife and all type of stuff like that, and you hoping he gonna back it up. Now I wanted Dustin to win, obviously, not because I just like Dustin, but because we're gonna keep ordering what it should be. And as the fight started, Conor came in there with a couple spinning back kicks, a couple sliding side kicks, even some leg kicks. And I knew he was going to do something different, and his stance was different. And I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on here. And he landed like a good left, but then he got clipped by Dustin as well. And I saw as soon as he felt that, it's funny because he was like, he was in an interview talking about how Dustin felt the electricity from getting hit, but it looked like he felt it because he knows how heavy this man's hands are. And he got clipped a couple more times and got backed all the way up to the other side of the cage, went for a guillotine, which wasn't smart, and then tried to drop into a guillotine, knowing he does not have the advantage on the ground. Dustin put his legs up on the cage to get that leverage, to get his head out of position, got back down and rained down some heavy ground and pound, which then he let up Conor because he said, actually in the interview, that Conor was putting his hands in his gloves and pulling him into up kicks, which is actually crazy that he do something like that. But obviously, it's not the first time he's done that. It's the first time he hasn't done the glove thing. Did it with Khabib as well. Now, he lets him up, and as he lets him up, Conor goes for a punch, and then you see his ankle pretty much be on his. It's crazy, like his shin and his ankle are pretty much perpendicular. It was nuts, and then he sits down. At first, you don't see it. You just think that maybe Conor punched him. I mean, that Dustin punched him, because at the same time that he sat down from that leg, a punch is thrown. You think he got hit, but he didn't. It was because of that foot, right? Now, after that, the fight is clearly stopped. Doctor stoppage. He's very adamant about that. Making a doctor stoppage. Here's the thing to take away. He was not winning that fight. After what happened to him on the ground, he did not look like it was going to be good for him afterwards. So I hope Dustin knows that even though he didn't finish Conor, he was winning this fight. It wasn't like he was getting the ass whip and then the leg gave him the victory. Like, no. And it was even pointed out by Dustin, and even later on, like the commentary team showed it, that when he kicked Dustin did check it, and you saw like almost his ankle wrapping around his shin, and it didn't look good. And that might have contributed to that. And I liked what he said afterwards. You know, he was very classy, and, you know, he didn't want to take it as personal, but he kind of did. He took the death threats. He didn't care about the wife stuff, but he was like, you're saying you're going to kill me doing stuff? And it's like, yeah. And honestly, obviously, if you've watched my other videos, you know, like, I don't really care about, like, Conor's, like, match antics and the fact that he keeps getting shoved into main events he doesn't deserve. So hopefully, this will have him sit down. Literally, right? Which is funny, because they did the interview, like, Joe Rogan, like, is literally on the floor with him, like, interviewing. That was pretty funny. But within that, this hopefully keeps him out of this picture. What I don't like is there's comments about there being a fourth fight, and that fourth fight possibly being for the title. How does this man keep losing? Now I get it. He means a lot to the UFC in terms of numbers and stuff, but damn, the rankings don't mean anything when this man's involved. Like, wow. So I want to see him. I want to see Dustin fight Charles Oliveira, and hopefully win, because he's been working to get that real belt. And then let's see what they do later on with, like, Justin and Michael Chandler, and see how this whole division shakes out. I think it's in better shape now. This guy is going to sit out. That's just my personal opinion. And even going back to the Sean O'Malley thing, Sean O'Malley could probably get Cody Garbrandt now in his division. I'm not sure what's going on with the other fighters there, but I forgot to mention that early on. Let me know what you think. The person that you wanted to win. Let me know what fight stood out to you. Until then, keep on watching these fights. Tune in for the next pay-per-view, and don't forget to enter the nerd.